Hey, what's happening, my fearless networking friends? Todd Falcone here today with another episode. Last week we talked about this whole idea of taprooting and building depth in an organization. And if you hadn't had a chance to either see or hear that episode, I'd strongly encourage you to do so. I think it's one of the most important and valuable things that you can do as a network marketer. So, and I'm going to kind of tail into today's episode a little bit along the lines of the conversation around team building, but I want to talk about team loyalty and how you can do things to essentially create more loyalty in a network marketing organization. Now, we bring friends in, we bring family members in, we bring strangers in. We think, man, these people that we're connected to, like our best buddies from childhood, they would never leave us and go to another company or, you know, take people from this organization and go someplace else. And the reality is that stuff does happen. And I don't know that there's a way for you to completely create loyalty and never have somebody leave you. But I think it's important that you, as you're building an organization, to think about, well, what can I do to create at least a higher degree of loyalty and create a situation where people are less likely to split, right? So, because it happens. I mean, people will come into a network. I mean, brothers, like lifelong blood relatives or very best friends can go sideways, and that's sad. But again, in this episode, this is what I want to talk about. So, from my experience, people who are heard and they feel like their opinion is valued tend to, stay in that crew of people where their opinion, their ideas, their concepts are valued and appreciated. Now, I also, and look, I don't know exactly what direction I'm going to go here. I've got some thoughts in my head for today's show, and it's based on a lot of experience in the business. Like, so if I've got a team member and he's trying to share ideas with me and he's a valued team member. Now, here's the thing about loyalty that I'm talking about. Look, I'm talking about having someone who's producing in your organization, somebody that's a productive, valued member based on their production in the marketplace, their production in your organization, where, if they left, you'd be like, wow, I wouldn't really want that person to leave. So, I mean, we got people in there that are just on auto ship or customers, nothing, and I'm not devaluing those people. Of course, customers and people on auto ship, they're all valuable people. But my point is, somebody who's producing $100,000 in sales a month is a higher valued person in that organization than somebody who's simply a buyer of a product or a service. So my opinion is that we've got to do things that with these individuals, like, for example, and I might have mentioned this in a previous episode, if I was running an organization, it wouldn't be the Todd Falcone show, right? It would be, it would be all encompassing of the ideas and all the great things that the people who are bringing the greatest amount of value to the organization deserve to be heard, right? So a few things that I think you can do to create a higher degree of loyalty in an organization is, number one, what I'm talking about right now is if somebody's got ideas, hear the ideas. Now, we don't want to just, I think there's a mistake when you immediately implement some idea that hasn't been well thought out, and we're, constantly changing things. And I think that the overall organization, the leading organization, I'm talking about the independent organization, not the company itself, but you guys and gals that are leading the charge in a group and kind of overseeing tens of thousands of people or potentially tens of thousands of people in the future. We've got to figure out how to get along, take our different skill sets, our different ideas, come together as a unit and be able to provide as much value as we possibly can to all of those people. And I think it's a lot easier, especially when we're self-employed people, to have the skills and the values that other people bring, the ideas that other people bring that can really make providing support and overseeing a group and helping an organization to flourish, the more the merrier. But again, being careful to not constantly be changing things and moving things around, because if we're changing frequently, the distributor force kind of goes on pause. So you got to be careful with it. It's like, okay, I want to value my key leaders by hearing their opinions, by hearing their ideas, by implementing those ideas, those proven successful ideas. It should never be it's Todd's way or the highway. I'm not, it's like a dictatorship. It's my way or you can get the heck out. Look, people, and the other thing is, whose ideas are you listening to? Some people just need to have the mic or they need to give you their idea, but they've never produced $1 in volume. So I think the most valuable assets on your team, these people that are producing volume, that are producing large amounts of sales, those people's ideas need to be heard. And if they go unheard for an extended period of time, they're going to be, there's just, it's not going to work out well. They're going to be resistant. What's going to ultimately happen is they're feeling, okay, I'm not being heard. I have a lot of value to offer this organization. What if somebody else comes along and they value what I have to say? Okay, well, it's going to be easier for them to light up and go do something else because they don't feel valued or heard in the existing organization. So that's something you need to be aware of. And I've seen it where, people are kind of like, hey, look, I'd like to be heard. No, get out, shut up, and it's like, maybe they don't necessarily say shut up, but the way they've communicated is shut up. So it's very important for you guys to think about, again, from last week's episode to this week's episode, this whole idea of building depth, building strength in a network marketing organization. We want to do things that foster activity, that foster growth. Appreciation is such an important thing. Being heard, the whole idea of recognition and for a job well done, an attaboy, an attagirl, having a very solid plan in place where you recognize accomplishments large and small. I think one of the best things that you can all do is really think about this for a second. If you worked really hard at something and you weren't heard, or you weren't, first of all, either you had a great idea and you're a high value person who's bringing tons of volume and success to this organization, and the upline leaders don't hear your idea, that's going to cause you to go, I'm going on pause, or I'm more open-minded to something else happening. And B, if you do something super cool and you feel like, man, I worked really hard to do this and nobody even recognized my hard work, wow, I don't feel valued here. So I think when you understand, loyalty comes when people feel valued, appreciated, and part of the tribe. They feel like they're part of the overall picture of what's being put out into the marketplace. It's like, hey, I'm part of the club here, right? So think about the activities that you're putting forth in your business right now. Are you doing things that are fostering a high degree of loyalty? Another thing that I would suggest even is the whole idea of spending time working and playing together. It's not just this, okay, we just do business together. Yeah, okay, I think we should actually do business together. I think the more time that you spend working with your team members, physically working with your team members, like investing time with them, and actually helping them to do things, helping them to create success as a cooperative partnership, there's going to be a higher degree of loyalty there just because you're tighter. You're a tighter knit crew than you're working here and I'm working over here and, hey, how you doing? What's up? What have you been up to? Give me the report, right? The more time we spend together, the more opportunities that we have to just bond in a much tighter way, so that if something were to happen, and things do often happen, things go sideways, and if something goes sideways, then we're able to fix it very quickly or stay together as a unit because we're a tight-knit crew. So again, think about this thought. What can you do to be a more tight-knit crew as a network marketing organization? Think to yourself, like, get out your journal and write to yourself, okay, what things could I do to create a more tight-knit crew where if through thick and thin, we would stay together? I think it would be very valuable for you to write down a list of things that you think of that you can do that would cause your organization to stick together like glue if and when more likely, the challenges come along. It's the same thing with relationships. Think about it for a moment. If you're in a marriage, or if you're in a together relationship and you're not really spending time focusing on one another, valuing, appreciating one another, and somebody else is, that person is going to be more likely to pay attention to this person who's giving them attention. This person's caring about me. They're listening to me. They're concerned about me. And even then when I talk and train all the time about this concept of being genuinely interested, not interesting, which comes out of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. What a great title, by the way. When you show authentic, real interest in another human being, they feel more attached to you. So I want you to do this as I wrap up this episode. Think to yourself, what can I do to create a more loyal organization? What are some of the specific action steps that I can take? I've given you some ideas already, right? Their voice being heard, appreciating, showing appreciation, recognizing a job well done, and making sure that we slow down long enough to recognize something, spending time working together, bonding together as we work our businesses, playing together, going out and having cool, fun times together where we're able to let loose and have a good time, and we're friends and business partners. Higher degrees of loyalty. What else can you add to that list? I'd be curious to hear from you in the comments section. I don't know where you might be listening to this or watching this. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you are listening to the podcast, I would suggest, do me a favor, go over to toddfalcone.com/episode 15 and give me your thoughts. Give me your comments. What do you think would be a great idea that would help you to create a higher degree of loyalty? Now, again, we're never gonna make it 100%. Everybody's 100% loyal, but I think we can do some things that make people go, why would I want to go over there when I got everything I need right here? So love to hear your thoughts. Love to hear your ideas. We will see you on the next episode. Thanks for plugging in. We'll see you next time.